We are supposed to see the elders. When you go to any village, you see the elders. The elders command a lot of respect and authority. Where is our own Council of State? Where are they? Our own Council of State, where are they? Look, find me the finance minister's video. Our finance minister, and you know, there's one thing I've realized about this government. The government literally shuns local media. And the local media is comprised of people who pay taxes in Ghana, whose taxes actually take care of the government officials who shun them. And they go out there and speak to foreign media. The president does it. The vice president does it. They pick and choose. Please play the finance minister's video for me. He was speaking about the domestic debt exchange program. Listen to him.
Part of our arrangement with the IMF, we decided to restructure our debts to bring our debts to sustainable levels. We started with our domestic debt, restructuring, and the sacrifices of our people ensure that we concluded that restructuring with about 95% or more participation. So it was greatly a success. We followed that with the restructuring of our bilateral debts with our bilateral creditors. That was also very successful in a negotiation between us and the Official Creditor Committee for Ghana. And this led to significant savings, debt service relief of about $2.8 billion US. And then following this is our restructuring of the Eurobonds. The Eurobonds, about $13 billion US. That was concluded in the first week of this month. Another great success because we saw over 98% participation in the debt exchange. The benefits we have derived from this so far includes an outright debt cancellation of about $5 billion and another debt service relief of about $4.3 billion. And so between the bilateral creditors and the Eurobonds, we are talking about savings of about $12 billion US. So we think this is a very great success. We are still having an outstanding restructuring with our commercial creditors involving about $2.7 billion. We are working very hard to conclude that. So far, I can say that we have been pretty successful at our restructuring. The participation has been great, and we see ourselves moving on the path to debt sustainability.
So this is our finance minister. He says, the domestic debt exchange program, the restructuring has been very successful. Who defines what is successful? Is the finance minister aware of the pain that people go through? There's a screenshot of my good friend Philip Ataura. Philip Ataura is a trainer of journalists. Philip Ataura had a kidney issue, and this is public knowledge. And some of us had to join our voices because we knew Philip to do crowdfunding for Philip to be able to get a transplant. Philip had some money, but Philip couldn't access his own money because of this domestic debt exchange program that the finance minister now says it was very successful. He says, you are crying because of 6 months. And somebody goes there, our colleague here, Dennis Poberi, Esquire, he goes to Data Bank to go and say, give us our money, our investment. And so you have to wait for 6 months before you get the money to fix an emergency that Dennis and his friends say they want to fix. Then Philip comes under the post. You are crying because of 6 months. I wanted to withdraw from my M fund to support my kidney transplant in February 2023. I am still waiting for that money as I type. I stopped contributing to the fund and now waiting for only God knows when. Let it stay on the screen. Let's read it again. You are crying because of 6 months. I wanted to withdraw from my M fund to support my kidney transplant in February 2023. Which month is this? October 2024. How many months after that? I am still waiting for that money as I type. I stopped contributing to the fund and now waiting for only God knows when. The finance minister says, we're successful. The Council of State is quiet. Dare I say, and all apologies to my good friend Philip and Noel Nuchuga and the rest, they were all instrumental in getting this done. If that crowdfunding had not been successful, the worst could have happened to our good friend Philip Ataura. Now, Philip Ataura is maybe fortunate because there are those who know him who are also influential. What about those who do not know any influential people? Come to me. What about those who don't know any influential people? What about those who have no voice? What about those? And I keep telling you that people who have passports, who can take their passports and travel out of the country and go and seek medical care, when they start talking and they tell you everything is successful, watch them with two eyes open widely. Widely open. He says that the thing is successful. People are still in pain. So if that crowdfunding had not happened, the man needed his money, his own money that he had set aside for a rainy day in February 2023. We will go. I want this to sink in. There's one last letter that we'll read and then we will go. February 2023. What has our Council of State said about any of the debt exchange, domestic debt exchange program? There's a green letter from the presidency. What has our Council of State said about all of that? What is happening? What has our Council of State said about it? That the former Chief Justice of the Republic went on the street asking for her money. What has the Council of State said about it? A former Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. What has the Council of State said about it? Other senior citizens, and you heard a medical doctor who says, I am a doctor, I know what is happening to me, my money is there, they are not giving me money, and I know that the more I delay, the more complications I get. What has the Council of State said about it? The Council of State is supposed to advise the government and advise the president, and to ensure that the assigns of the president, like the finance minister, doesn't go talking sweet out there while the people suffer here. It's the more reason they do not speak to us, because they know when they speak to us here locally, we know the issues and we will ask them the right questions, so they will never sit before us. Read this, 20th October 2022. We're wrapping up with this. I've been talking about state institutions. I've been talking about GIHOC. I've been talking about, what do you call it? Alegiba. I've been talking about so many state institutions and how the top executive are misbehaving. This is what the Chief of Staff wrote. And you know why? This letter it gives me the shock that why Dr. Bonaventure Benedict Alegiban, for example, doesn't want to leave, and after the Chief of Staff had written, he says, I don't care, we can do your worst. The Chief of Staff wrote this letter. It says, guidelines on government response system to address issues. Cabinet. This is a cabinet decision. A same cabinet decision like was taken in the Galamsey issue, where they say stop all forms of mining, and people say, Chia, we will give you license to go and mine in 47 forest reserves. The same cabinet met and says at its last meeting held on 6 October 2022, discussed the need to establish a government response system to address various issues in the public domain, particularly in respect of attempts to distort issues or misinform the public.